All right, y'all, let's talk a little bit about what went down in Southern California over the past few days. It is absolutely astonishing. So, SoCal got hit with what's called an atmospheric river. Now, the reason why it's called that is because it is literally like a river opened up in the sky and dumped colossal amounts of water on people's heads. And, you know, I don't know how many of you guys know this, but Southern California is not really made to handle that much rain. When you go for such long stretches without rain, you know, the climate is such that the ground can't really absorb it when it comes down. So then what happens? You get like mudslides and you get flooding, and it doesn't even take that much water to get you to that point. And the amount of rain that has come down is absolutely apocalyptic. They're already saying this is a 1 in over 1,000-year storm. It's unbelievable. All right, so let's dive into this. A powerful atmospheric river storm continued to lash Southern California on Monday, causing extensive flooding and mudslide damage. Rainfall amounts have exceeded 10 inches in some communities, including those along the Santa Monica Mountains. California Governor Gavin Newsom has declared a state of emergency for 8 counties from Santa Barbara to San Diego. There's power outages still impacting a bunch of places around LA. There's been a total of 307 mudslides. 35 incidents where buildings require inspection due to mudslides and slope failures. 5 buildings that have been red tagged, 7 buildings that have been yellow tagged. By the way, these numbers are actually a little outdated as of right now. There's stuff all over social media where you see houses that are being pushed by the mudslides and the foundation is no longer safe. You have flash floods happening all over the place. There was an evacuation order in effect for certain areas. You could see some of the rain totals here. Topanga Canyon had over 11 inches. Stunt Ranch had over 11 inches. Bel Air over 11 inches. I mean, on the lower end, you have like Westlake Village with over 6 inches, which again is not an amount that they can really handle. Now, the slight upside in the conversation is that, remember, the West has been dealing with, a drought for a very long time. And, it was getting to critical levels in some instances. This is something that actually helps on that front. But the question is, how many billions of dollars in damage happened up front? And how many deaths are we going to see when all is said and done here? Because again, this is not like anything that, is usually experienced in this region of the country. So I also want to show you here, UCLA has recorded nearly 12 inches of rain in the last 24 hours. 12 inches in 24 hours. And it's been raining for way longer than that. A 1 in 1,000-year rainfall event for Westwood, a truly unprecedented storm in modern history for the region as an atmospheric river stalls over the region. So let me show you. Look at how this rain moved in, as they called it the Pineapple Express, because it's an atmospheric river that really originated in Hawaii, and the way it traveled into the West Coast, they call that the Pineapple Express. But watch this. So this is the rain. It comes in. Look, it just stalls out. It just stays there. It's coming in, but it's all on the same track. Absolutely astonishing. So I'll show you some videos here. Here we got Beverly Hills. I'm going to turn off the music so I don't get knocked on copyright. But you can see mud getting into people's garages. Whole streets completely wiped out from the mudslides. Impossible to travel in certain areas. These like hillside communities that don't have the potential to soak up the rain when it comes down. It just kind of collects on top of the mud, and then eventually it comes loose. So we have that. We also have this right here. This was earlier, but 3 dead as of this point in California. This is a CBS video that can look at the flooding.
California remains in the midst of a storm for the history books. Powerful and life-threatening. A sea of mud and debris from relentless downpours, flooding roads, swelling creeks. This is the normally dry LA River. And this is the impact.
I'm Carter Evans in a neighborhood not far from LAX that got nearly 7 inches of rain so far. This is a hillside home. The woman who lives here says she heard tree branches cracking last night, and then this, a wall of mud smashes right into her bedroom. It's still slowly seeping in right now, and the worst part is, she says insurance won't cover it.
Jesus Christ.
We were on this road in the city's heavily populated San Fernando Valley, where a wall of mud and boulders came crashing down. 16 people were evacuated. Devastating conditions seen throughout the region. The storm, which the National Weather Service had warned of being potentially catastrophic, hitting the entire California coast. To the north, wind gusts topped 100 miles per hour. The Sacramento River, a raging current. In San Jose, just one of numerous rescues from rising floodwaters. This tree falling onto a car, another hallmark of this storm. Uprooted trees causing at least 3 deaths and major damage, the result of ground now saturated from a series of atmospheric rivers. Watch what happens to this tree in the community of Loomis. Back in Los Angeles, residents are still coming to grips with a storm for the ages.
And tonight, this is what's left of a home destroyed by a landslide. Its physical address used to be up on this hill. It slid off of its foundation and crashed into this home. Fortunately, no one was at home at the time. The landslide also taking out this car. It puts into perspective just how powerful this storm system is, and the rain will continue throughout the evening, Nora.
So there's 2 massive factors that are helping to lead to this situation. Number 1, we are dealing with the impacts of El Nino this year. Number 2, and the elephant in the room, of course, is that climate change is now leading to multiple examples in short time spans of like, this is a 1 in 1,000 year storm. This is a 1 in 10,000 year storm. And like, you hear that, and then it happens every other year. You got drought in certain places. You have flooding in other places. You have sea level rise. You have, water as a resource in certain places is running low. Eventually, there will be wars over water. You have some places that are going to be totally uninhabitable as a direct result of climate change and the temperature climbing to the point where you can't sustain human existence in certain places anymore. There are certain places in the Middle East that will be uninhabitable. All of these things are piling on top of one after the other. In fact, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think California actually got hit with a tropical storm or something relatively recently, which is something that almost never happens in that region of the world. Again, it could be a mix of El Nino and climate change that helps get us to this position, but it ain't pretty, man. And you heard what they said there about the insurance company? Of course, this is what they do, right? They shake you down, and then when you need them, they're like, actually, that's not covered. If you look at page 72 and subsection AC12, it says that we actually don't cover when something like this happens. It's like, well, then why the hell are you getting paid? Why is anybody paying you if you're going to turn around the second you're needed and say, that doesn't count? God, it's so frustrating. But this is what we're dealing with now, man. This is what we're dealing with. So my heart goes out to everybody over there in Southern California. Again, even if this was a rain event where it was like 4 inches or 5 inches, that's too much for this region to deal with because of what happens with the ground. And you're going to get the mudslides. You're going to get the flooding because they can't absorb as much as it can in other places just by virtue of the way the climate normally is over there. And then now they're dealing with 12 inches. That is very difficult to deal with. Probably billions of dollars of damage. And my heart goes out. All right, guys, that's the show. I love you all very much. You know the drill. You know the shameless plugs. Everybody, please subscribe to the channel. It helps out massively in the algorithm. It doesn't cost you anything. First, we're going to get to 2 million. Then we're going to get our ass to 10 million because we want that next plaque. It'd be dope to have that, I think there's a 10 million plaque, right? I think it goes 10 and then 100 is the one after that you get a plaque. Let's see if we can get both. Let's see. I don't know. I won't hold my breath because I'll be dead. But hopefully we can get to it. Hook a brother up with a sub. Click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. That also helps massively. And remember, guys, you can always support the show on Patreon. That link's below, or you could tip on YouTube with the thanks button. I've never talked to an advertiser. I'm very proud of that, but that means I'm very reliant on you guys, my audience, small dollar donors, in order to help fund this show. So again, a massive thank you to everybody who does support this show. You could also support Crystal, Kyle, and friends if you're so inclined. That link is below as well. And everybody have a great rest of your day, and I will be right back here dumping some knowledge in your cranium tomorrow. Peace. Hey, y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop, and watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.